So I wanted to talk to you about your solutions. So I think you talked about addressing the push factors so that, using military intervention and civilian forces to build institutions and rule of law in countries, that may be to some extent failed states. But that hasn't seemed to be very successful in the past. I mean, we've just come out of 20 years in Afghanistan.
Well, also, I really know I didn't put it that way at all.
Okay, you correct me.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not proposing that European countries start mounting invasions in these countries. Absolutely not. I'm just saying it is better if European countries would get involved, and this is on a diplomatic level, on an economic level, and sometimes as America does, and I think France does the same thing too. When some of these countries are challenged, for instance, with terrorist attacks and these militias, homegrown militias, seem to be, to come very close to breaking down order, then it would be very, I would say, self-interest, rightly understood, if European governments were to help, and this is militarily, to help then those fragile governments in putting down the insurgencies. And this, the people I have in mind are the Islamists. And many of these developments you now see in Africa, where local governments are just too weak to stand up to an Islamist insurgency. And what the Europeans have been doing is just displaying complete indifference until the problem or the problems come to their shores. And so it would have been nice if they engaged in some kind of proactive dealing with saying, we don't want large numbers of people coming from Eritrea. So we might want to help Eritrea address her economic problems or problems of that nature. And I think it was Trump's administration that probably criticized some of these European countries as they just want to lean back and hope that Uncle Sam is going to solve all their problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you've got time, the last one, which is your statement that tolerance of intolerance is cowardice. And it reminded me of Popper's idea that you need to be intolerant of intolerance. And your statement, the advocacy of using your liberal means to achieve liberal ends. But I thought there seems to be a danger in that, because a democratic society, it may actually attack the things that make a democratic society great, which is being pluralistic and tolerant.
So in our democratic societies, liberal democratic societies in the West, they are pluralistic and they're tolerant. And once in a while, an intolerant group emerges and tries to invoke, in the case of the Islamists, they're invoking God. And in the case of the woke, they're invoking social justice. But they then want to impose their ideologies on the rest of us. And I think we should be intolerant of that, of their intolerance, in order to sustain the pluralism and the liberties that we have. So, for instance, here in America, we have all these people who are being canceled and silenced, losing their jobs, losing their livelihoods. I think we should be intolerant of that kind of behavior. And when it came to the Islamists, again, invoking God to hurt other people, I think we should be intolerant of that. And that being intolerant of intolerance is a way of maintaining and preserving our liberal order. So it's the opposite.